All right, welcome back to Handy as Hell. Here we are, a new project. We haven't filmed anything in a while. I've been lazy, I'll be honest. But today we're going to build a kid's, I say kid, a 13-year-old's desk slash vanity. 13-year-old girl. Now, le client, the client, has been searching high and low for something that would fit in the space in the kids' bedroom, and they're at a loss. They can't find anything. Now, for like $300, you can get these nice kind of cheap, white, kind of basic, with a few drawers, vanities slash desks. But they're all too wide. They're all too wide. He's got a windowsill in the way and some weird kind of baseboard kickouts where they retrofitted some electrical conduits. So he's resorted to me. Now, obviously, the goal is to build something custom. The goal is to build something affordable. And what does affordable mean? Yes, that's right. Affordable means MDF. That's right. Why MDF? Because it's stable, it's cheap, it's easy to paint, and this desk is not designed, it's not going to be an heirloom, it's not something that's going to last forever. It's just going to serve a purpose for the next few years. So I'll post a little picture of what I'm copying or attempting to copy. And it's basically going to be a cupboard on one side, a couple of drawers, deep drawers on the other side, a shallow drawer underneath the desk where you sit, and there'll be kind of like a backboard with a nice large mirror and a couple of little shelves. That's it. So step one is cutting the sheets down. All of this is going to be made from one 4x8 sheet of half-inch MDF and one 4x8 sheet of 3/4-inch MDF. That's all we're going to need. So under $100 for the two sheets. We're in Hawaii. Things cost a lot. I ordered the hinges and the pulls and the drawer slides on Amazon. Those were all pretty cheap. At the end of the video, I'll tally everything up. I think the most amount of labor, in my experience on a project like this, is the painting. Depending on how good of a finish you want, you can spend, hours. But we're going to go something middle of the road so that we can keep the costs down for the client. So let's get started. We're just going to rip some sheets up so that we can manage them more easily. And then we'll go to our cut list, which is already done here. Cut all the pieces. I don't want this to be a massive drawn out video, so I'm going to skip a lot of the basic stuff. You don't want to watch that. So step one, cut the sheets. All right, very quickly, we're cutting MDF. It's nasty, nasty stuff. You don't want to be breathing any of this in, okay? A lot of toxic glues in there. So using the Traxol trusty Festool, love my Festool, we're going to use dust mask. But also, I don't want to turn the camera around, but we're going to use the overhead air filtration system. And we're also going to hook up the vac to this to get rid of most of the dust so we don't kill ourselves. Now, I actually went and invested in the expensive $150 Festool shop vac hose for this Traxor setup. Why? Because I had the rib type off Amazon, and even though it's a great hose, it catches on everything. And I was sick and tired of pulling the Traxor out of square and all that stuff. So I spent the money. Great investment. Right, dust mask, and here we go. Okay, so I got all of my sheets cut down using the track saw, rough dimensions, and now I'm just using the table saw um, to cut them to the exact sizes. We'll label them all, put them to one side. I think that will do for the evening. I'm just cutting all the bits for the carcasses of the drawers and the top and the back bit. I'm going to leave, I have a bit of spare left over of 3/4 for the drawer fronts. I'm going to leave that to the end just so I can measure exactly. Sometimes you're off by a 32nd or a 16th, and to the eye you can see it. So we will do those, cut those at the end once the boxes are built and everything's ready to go. All right, here we go. Oh, top tip. I've got one of these DeWalt contractor saws that I've built into kind of my workstation here. But I picked up this Bow XT546. It's like a 4-foot fence extension, which is great for longer pieces. The fences on these contractor saws are quite short, but if you're cutting longer, ripping longer pieces, get yourself one of these. They are awesome. Right, and there we go. There are all the bits for the carcasses and the top, and that is the sheet for the back with the mirror and stuff. Now that's going to get a whole section cut out once it's attached. It serves a double purpose, really. It's going to be the back of the cupboards and also the extension for the mirror. So that will help support and square up all the carcasses. And we'll cut that roughly to size once the carcasses are built, and then we'll kind of attach it and router out perfectly around them. I have a nice bit left over there for all the drawer fronts and a whole bunch of 1/2 inch there for the drawers. All right, that's it for this evening. Okay, apologies for the noise. It's Saturday in Hawaii and everybody's got their strimmer slash blower out. Usual thing. Okay, so here we are, a bit of progress made. The two carcasses are built. Word of caution. MDF is basically wood fibers with a bunch of glue all compressed. So when you glue it together, you're essentially just gluing the last few fibers on each panel together. So the bond is not very strong. So I recommend definitely some mechanical fixings on MDF. So here we've just got on each piece of wood a couple of countersunk screws. Be sure to pre-drill MDF. It will split because it's compressed. There's not much space in the wood. So definitely pre-drill and don't over-tighten and use coarse thread screws. On this one here, the white one on the left, you can see I've already started sealing the end grain. In fact, we're going to seal the whole thing. I'll get on more to this when we paint it, but we're going to be using shellac-based products, and I'll explain that when we start painting. But don't spend a lot of time sanding the edges pre-sealing. You're just wasting your time. I'll explain later. So there you go. Those are the two. One of these ones on the left hand, this is going to just be a big cabinet. On the right here is going to be 2 deep drawers. That's why the one on the left has a bottom to it. And between the two, this is going to be about 36 inches between these two. Sorry, 24 inches between these two. And there's going to be a shallow drawer in there. But anyway, that's the progress so far. Hope you enjoy it. Right, here we go. Following on with the vanity slash desk. Time to build the drawers. Now, it's very tempting when you start building something to build the carcasses and you're in the groove of cutting and you just want to get the drawers cut and you cut those. It's very easy to make a mistake. If you're using those full extension drawer slides, they're generally half an inch wide. And so a couple of them, that's an inch. You need to reduce your dimensions of the drawers by an inch. Having said that, you don't need to be off by much, as little as a 16th for them to be too tight. Too small by a 16th, that can be shimmed. But too tight, you're in a whole spot of bother. So what I like to do is build the carcasses. Once they're built, go and measure all of my stock, because not all stock, when it says it's half inch, is half inch. This MDF is actually spot on half inch thick. Measure that, measure the slides. Okay, get your calipers out, measure exactly how wide those are, how thick those are, because like I said, a 32nd on one, a 32nd on the other adds up to a 16th. You are screwed. So do it that way. So I've got the other half of the half-inch MDF here. I'm going to start ripping it down roughly on the table saw, and then I'll dial it in and get it to the exact measurement I need. We're just doing butt joints, simple butt joints, same as the carcasses, gluing a couple of mechanical screws in there. We're keeping this simple. We're using 1/4 inch MDF with kind of like a laminate top to it for the drawer bottoms, and those will just go in a little dado groove in the bottom of the drawer, but we'll get to that. So time to rip down some sides for the drawers. I know what you're all thinking, where's the dust mask? And you're right, I forgot it. So I'm going to go get that. I'll do the rest of these cuts and I'll see you again after that's all done. Okay, so all ripped down to width. Now I've got the trusty sled out and we're going to cut them all to the exact length. Here we go. Okay, progress being made. Everything's built. All the drawers are built. That is the back, which the mirror is going to attach to, and the little shelves. So we're moving on to the top. This is the vanity top, desktop, whatever you want to call it. 3/4 MDF, basic, but because it's the top and our arms are going to be resting on it and stuff, we kind of want to create a bit of a bullnose top and bottom to this to make it look nice. So we've got the router, we've got the little, will that focus? Yeah, we've got the little bullnose with the bearing in the router, and we're going to do both sides of the top. The back doesn't need to be done. I mean the back side of the desk, because that goes up against the wall. I guess it doesn't hurt to do it, if I'm honest with you. There is going to be, you'll see the detail later, but the back has to be slightly cut out. It overhangs a bit by about 3/4 of an inch, so it needs to be cut out by half an inch to fit around the back, but I'll explain that detail more to you a bit later. All right, here we go. Okay, everybody, probably time for a little update. So, the unit is completely built. It's sitting on its side, so I don't know if you can see, but basically it's a vanity slash desk, custom built because it's a small space. We have basically just a cupboard here with one shelf. Over here, a couple of large sliding drawers. Shallow drawer here under where you sit, and those little shelves there, little knickknacks, and then there where the paper is, I'm not painting because there's got to be a big 24 by 36 inch mirror. All the drawers, doors and everything are built. They are over there ready for paint. If you're wondering what we're going to use for drawer pulls, this is pretty much it. Oopsie daisy. So if this here is the main pull-out drawer, okay, busting everything up, that's the main drawer. Then nice sleek white, keep it simple, and let's not get carried away. I've put the feet on these little adjustable because it's an old house, it's going in. I'm sure the floor is not level. Full extension drawer slides for all the drawers. Now, as I said at the beginning of the project, the goal of this is to keep the cost down. So we're not going to go crazy painting on the inside. We'll paint a bit, but we won't, we won't pay too much attention to detail. All the visible bits will be obviously nicely spray painted with a satin spray paint down here, and that is pretty much it. So one more thing I want to touch on is most of the joins, most of the joinery here is just butt joints with you can see there a good example, butt joints with countersunk holes and some 1 5/8 inch screws. It's MDF, so make sure you pre-drill. I've already explained that. And there's also some glue in there. On the outside where you can see it, I've bondoed all the holes in, fill a nice sanded flush. And that's a way of making pretty cheap and quick joins. Like I said, this piece of furniture is not going to last 100 years, but it will serve its purpose to get this girl to college. Right, next video will be when it's painted and upright and you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I promised you a little secret sauce on how I paint the MDF, especially the edges. The edges will fur up a lot. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but here you got an area that was just primed. It's tough to see that. And you can see it's got a little bit of raised grain there. So, as with all wood, I mean, MDF is wood particles or wood fibers that with a lot of glue. So anything wet on it, it will fur up. Now, I told you, I use shellac-based primer. Why? One, it dries really quickly, so you can get straight to work. But two, also, it's not water-based, so no water in it means that it will raise the grain less than this. Now, at the very beginning, I told you not to waste your time sanding these edges before priming, and that's kind of true. What I didn't say is sometimes you'll get saw marks in this after running it through the table saw or something, and those tend to be deeper marks that you obviously want to sand out before you prime. But after that, then don't spend a lot of time priming this sanding this ultra smooth before you prime it, because it's just going to get rough again. So what I use 2 to 3 coats of this. So I put a coat on, let it dry, 220 sand it, get it nice smooth, another coat, let it dry, sand it with 220 again, and it is like glass smooth, ready for the top coat, and it will not absorb anything anymore. Otherwise, you can just keep like packing paint on here. If it's not primed and sealed, you can keep packing paint on it, will just absorb. MDF is crazy. The shellac in the primer is great at sealing it. Right, so for this little project that I've just finished, what did I use? Top coat. Well, this stuff was on sale. As I said before, this whole project was about saving money, so I went with this, like a white satin protective enamel, and I love these new like variable nozzles that they're making, because you basically have like a fan spray, low output, medium output, high output, really good for controlling the amount of paint going on versus a regular spray can. So love that. So I used about, for that project, what was it? I've got 2 left. So I used four cans. Maybe I used one of these. So maybe 4.5 cans of this stuff for that whole project. I did not paint the inside of the drawers with this. I just went with a water-based latex, because nobody's ever going to see that, and that just made it easier. So there we go. That is the secret way, or not the secret way. There's plenty of information out on you. There's other people will swear by other products, but I swear by this. This works really well for MDF. There you go. Okay, as promised, here you go. Finished article. Yeah, you know, for a low budget project, it's not bad. There's a few little tweaks here and there that I would have done, but seems to all work. We still have to install the mirror. I'm just waiting to do that until it's actually in place, because that back piece of MDF is only 1/2 inch thick. It might flex a bit, and we don't want to crack the mirror. So we just have full extension slides this side. On this side, we got some deep, I need to vacuum that out. We got a couple of deep drawers. And then on this side, one big cupboard with a shelf, soft close, hinges. Only drawback about this type of spray paint is, especially in this humidity in Hawaii, it needs quite a few hours of dry time to be usable. I would suggest at least 3 days of drying before you can actually kind of put stuff on it. The paint's still pretty soft, and it will ding if you don't watch out. Okay, that's it. I'll take one quick photo or video when it's in place in the room. But that is a cheap and quick little project. Thanks for watching.